For man-made lakes and ponds that have liners that should not be perforated, we have other methods of installing your SonicSolutions device. One is using cinder blocks, rope, and a float. This method is designed to use the cinder blocks as weights to anchor the unit in place and keep it pointing in the right direction. We're going to take our rope that has been pre-cut based on our water depth, loop it twice through the cinder block so we have 2 even lengths. Next, we're going to take our cinder blocks and place them in the water with the minimum 2 feet of depth. You'll notice that we're using polypropylene rope, which won't rot in the water over time, and it also floats. Next, we're going to take our unit and place it into the water, using the ropes to secure it to the cinder blocks. You want to make sure that the transducer head or the flat part is facing out. We're going to use the ropes tied into the 4 corners of the float. Once the ropes have been secured to the float, we're going to reposition the cinder blocks to tighten up the length and make sure that the unit is facing in the right direction. Another method of installing your SonicSolutions device would be using the sled mount design. The sled mount can be purchased separately from SonicSolutions directly. What you get in your sled mount would be the sled, poles with a sliding bolt. You will also need rope, a cinder block, and an additional stake. First, we're going to attach our poles to the sled mount. We're going to use petroleum jelly or some other kind of lubricant and put it on the threads, on the slide bolt, as well as on the slides themselves. I've already attached the first pole. I'm going to attach the second one using the slide bolt onto the slide. You don't want to tighten it up too much, as you will have to adjust this in the water, and then you can tighten it all the way. Next, we're going to take our short stake. We're going to pound it into the shore, which is going to be above the high water line and outside of the liner. Next, we're going to take our sled mount down to the shoreline and tie one end of the rope into the hole. Then I'm going to slide the mount into the water so it gets submerged just a little bit. I'm going to take my cinder block and place it on top of the mounting pole. Next, we're going to slide the sled mount into the 2 feet of water. As you can see, because of the incline of the pond, we need to readjust our poles. They are at an angle and we need to set them vertical. We're going to turn the poles counterclockwise just a little bit. You don't want to turn them too much so the bolt falls off. Slide them vertical and then tighten again. Next, we're going to take our unit and place it on the poles of the sled mount. You want to make sure that the transducer head of the flat part is facing out. We're going to put the poles through the back holes of the float. You'll notice that we installed this at low water levels, but when the water rises, the float can go up and down on the poles. The last part is taking the rope and securing it to the stake on shore. The reason for the rope is to secure the unit in place so that it doesn't slide down the steep incline of a lined pond. The second reason is so that you can pull the unit in for monthly cleaning. Now we're ready to connect the unit to the power supply using the watertight cable connectors. It is important to remember not to plug the unit into the power outlet prior to installing the unit in the water. This will prevent possible damage to the transducer head that will void your warranty. So our unit is in the water, our watertight connections are good. Now it's time to plug in and start killing algae. Now that the unit is plugged in, let's focus on the power supply. There are 2 lights on the power supply box. The bottom one is a solid green light, indicating that there is electricity flowing to the power supply. The top one is a blinking green light, which indicates that there is feedback from the transducer head, letting us know that ultrasonic waves are being generated into the water. An important safety feature of our power supply, besides the fact that it is UL approved and waterproof, is that the power supply only sends 24 volts down the cable and into the water. Should the power supply cord be cut for any reason, it will not harm anybody. In addition, if you have critters or animals such as muskrats that may want to bite into the cord, we do recommend a cable guard, which you can buy online.